Hey everybody, so last night I saw Pokemon Detective Pikachu, directed by Rob Letterman, starring Ryan Reynolds, Justice Smith, Catherine Newton, Bill Nighy, and Ken Watanabe. Detective Pikachu is unfortunately a confusing, lackluster, and predictable movie. It is a CGI mess in my opinion. Some of the CGI is rather good, and the character design is great in my opinion, but some of the scenes bring back terrible nightmares of the swinging with monkey scenes from Indiana Jones' Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Some of the CGI in this movie is that bad, it's that atrocious. There are multiple scenes where you can tell that the character designs and the animations of the Pokemon have been just dropped onto a screen after being animated, and it is so blatantly clear and obvious and almost painful to look at times. This movie barely holds up now with the CGI currently in 2019, and it will not hold up in the slightest, even a year from now. It's that bad. The direction is shoddy to say the least. Some shots are out of focus, and some are framed very strangely around the characters' heads. That really makes me question, why are you shooting it this way? The story jumps all over the place and is either confusing from a character motivation standpoint or is horribly predictable from the start. For the first time in my life, I can genuinely say that I easily predicted and picked out everything that was going to happen in this movie. The acting is subpar across the board, even for Ryan Reynolds. I usually love him, but it is edited so terribly around Pikachu, it's hard to get any enjoyment out of the character. And all of his good jokes were shown in the trailers, which, on another note, speaking of the trailers, if you have seen it, or seen one of them, either one or two, you have basically seen the entire movie. There is very little that's kept hidden from the audience that is not in the trailers. It really would have been nice to have not seen Mewtwo in the second trailer and to be surprised of his presence in this movie, even though it does start out with his character. It would have been a nice surprise to get that. You don't need to have been shown that. All of the good jokes for Pikachu and his good jokes between him and Justice Smith were shown in the trailers. They're already clear. It's unfortunate because they were some good comedy, but after having seen it multiple times in the trailer, going to see it in the movie, it lost its comedic value. It lost its luster. It just wasn't what it was intended to be because it was overkill. Aside from a few small things that I did enjoy in this movie, such as Angels with Even Filthier Souls from Home Alone playing in the background in one scene, or the Seinfeld Serenity Now, Insanity Later joke that was referenced at one point in this movie, I was bored. It feels longer than Endgame somehow, and it's half the amount of time that Endgame takes to tell its story. However, while Endgame was huge for me, this movie must equally be huge for fans of Pokemon. The kids in my theater who were calling out every Pokemon name for when that specific Pokemon appeared on screen brought a smile to my face, and the kid at the end of the movie who screamed in genuine enjoyment during the final fight scene made me happy and made me realize that not everybody loves the Avengers the way I do. There are people that genuinely love Pokemon and have that same reaction that I did to Endgame that they did for this movie. And to each their own. Where was I? Sorry, I lost my point in my script. I really wanted to like Detective Pikachu going into it. I wanted to call it the first good video game movie ever. But I simply can't. As I said, I was bored. It felt lackluster. There wasn't much fun to be had in the action scenes there were. I found myself distracted by the CGI. I found myself distracted by the acting or the jokes or the story itself. Half the audio in this movie is unintelligible. You can't tell some of the things that characters are saying. Granted, be it chalked up to the audio that's in the background of the scene, if it's the actor talking themselves, if it's an accent, or if it's just a weird line that I just didn't understand because I'm not a fan of Pokemon. I wanted to like this movie. But I have to give Detective Pikachu a 5.6 out of 10. Now that may seem a little high for how much I roasted this movie. Like I said, there are still things that I liked about the movie. Unfortunately, I didn't talk about them that much because what it was, I've already said. I don't need to go in depth anymore into it. but the bad outweighs the good, in my opinion. But it's still not a 4-level movie. It's not a 4-point movie. It is a 5. I just felt like I had to go in the middle of the 5s. So 5.6.